And the next item that will be taken out of order is item 10.4, a resolution by Councilor Burnley in support of statewide natural psychedelics therapy.
Councilor Burnley.
Thank you. Through the chair, you may be noticing a theme to this evening's items. I'm going to be much more brief in introducing this item. As my colleagues may know, that we have a ballot initiative on this year that is meant to essentially decriminalize 5 naturally occurring psychedelics and allow for licensed facilities to offer guided therapies using those naturally occurring substances. This ballot initiative would also decriminalize a host of laws, including allowing for small amounts of possession, cultivation, and gifting and giving of these substances to folks who are above the age of 21, very specifically. This council has long been a leading champion in allowing for harm reduction and alternative therapies. As recently as 2021, this council, right before some of my colleagues were elected, passed a resolution deprioritizing psilocybin as a meat from arrest when people have it in their possession. And this council did so because they recognized that these substances have been used successfully, and that the FDA has actually recognized that they've been used successfully in therapies for PTSD, depression, anxiety, and a host of other mental health crises. And I believe that in the midst of the mental health crisis that we're seeing, and that has been exacerbated since the pandemic, we have the responsibility to do as much as we can to ensure that all of our residents have the resources available to live their most healthy and safe lives. And to speak more on that, I would like to sponsor Graham Moore.
Welcome, please.
Good evening, Somerville City Councilors. I'm so grateful to this body for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much. My name is Graham Moore. I'm the Educational Outreach Director for the Natural Psychedelics Ballot Measure Campaign. I'm also a lifelong Cantabrigian who has spent a lot of time in Somerville and who is deeply personally invested in this issue. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, better known as OCD. I also still contend with the trauma of the death of my best friend, a Somerville resident, in 2013. She and I met as a consequence of us both taking leave from college due to serious mental illness. Seven weeks after she was forcibly hospitalized for her depression, she died by suicide in her apartment near Davis Square. My mother discovered her body while I was waiting in the car outside. I'm sorry to share that the suicide rate in Massachusetts now is nearly the same as it was back then, over a decade ago. So too is the difficulty in finding adequate care. People in Massachusetts suffering from life-threatening and debilitating disorders, including severe depression, PTSD, OCD, addictions to opioids, alcohol, and tobacco, as well as end-of-life anxiety and depression, desperately need and deserve more options. Providing more treatment options is exactly what the Natural Psychedelics Substances Act will do. Every substance in the measure has demonstrated therapeutic value, has been well tolerated in clinical trials, and is legally accessible for therapeutic purposes abroad already. Furthermore, legal access to these substances has never been observed to harm public health. It is well past time that we stop forcing veterans, hospice patients, and others with severe distress to travel out of state or risk prosecution for accessing effective and groundbreaking treatments. Across the world, medical researchers at respected institutions such as Johns Hopkins University and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Massachusetts have been researching the clinical efficacy of psychedelics. One such researcher recently presented that in her clinical trial, the natural psychedelic psilocybin appeared more effective for my condition, OCD, than any other treatment. This does not overly surprise me, since I use psilocybin in consultation with my psychiatrist at Mass General Hospital, who was an OCD specialist, in order for me to heal from, not just reduce symptoms of, crippling OCD. In 2021, among some of my hardest days, Somerville's decision to deprioritize arrests of people using natural psychedelics was a source of inspiration and hope. I think I will always remember the profound relief I felt after my own city, Cambridge, followed Somerville's example. Now, with your help, I'm optimistic we can bring healing and common sense reform to the rest of the state. Thank you again, Somerville City Councilors, for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for your courage in standing up for people like me and my best friend, who always deserved more options to treat serious mental illness and should never have been punished for trying to get better. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that story. Colleagues, Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I really just appreciate both the resolution and the amount of work that went into this. I appreciate how short the resolution is because H4255, which is the bill for this, is 39 pages long. The first 11 pages of it are just about the composition and establishment of the commission, which I think would sound excessive, except we just got done hearing about how horrible a job the State Cannabis Commission has done. So maybe we need that kind of guardrails, but it is 39 very well considered pages, while generally I would be on the side of just treat it like alcohol. This does actually require administration of it. There's different classes depending on what substance it is and how that administration is governed. So it's really a very conservative approach to this, which I think should be very easy for folks to support here. So I appreciate the presentation tonight and our colleague for bringing it forward. I'd love to sign on.
Councilor Wilson.
Thanks, Mr. President. If you're sitting here tonight listening to this and thinking, wow, this sounds like some really far out, like counterculture approach to like alternative medicine, the wild-eyed radicals of Johns Hopkins Medical Center have researched this. They found it's effective for treating depression, a number of other things. The science supports this. If you believe in science, you should also support this. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, that item is laid on the table for approval.